Hello there. It is Thursday, December 10th. Get it right here, 2020. And as promised yesterday, today we'll take a little closer look at the signs and lying wonders, but it come to my attention that I missed it. I skipped a verse on you yesterday, and we better cover that. And then we will get into the signs and lying wonders. Here scripture reveals to us that all these signs and lying wonders, the appearance of the false savior that's got an answer for all this COVID-19 problems and everything the world and the leadership crisis and all the problems of the world, all global warming. No, they don't call it that anymore. What do they call it? Climate change. All the world's problems that's going to kill all of us. Overpopulation. There's one coming. The king of Babylon is coming. He's got the solution to all the problems. We learn in this 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. He's going to tell you the truth about all this, and you will either receive it or you're damned to believe a lie. I missed a key verse in this yesterday, so let's cover it again. Even whose coming is after the workings of Satan with all powers and signs and lying wonders. Okay? There's your, and in Genesis, God told you that he would give you signs too. So you got the two opposing people here, right? People's too weak of a word, I apologize. The two opposing powers. The supreme power, God Almighty, and the adversarial power. So here we go. He just told you this adversarial power of Satan. And let's just look up. What does Satan mean? Let's look it up. We got time. We're going to take time because these things are important. Of Satan. Okay. Corresponding with 4566. There's that 6 again. Remember in the Hebrew we found out. H6, Hebrew 6, remember? And there it is. There's no accidents in God's Word. There's no coincidences in God's Word. The coincidences are not for unbelievers. There the word was, well, let's listen to it. How is it in the Greek? So if you want to say Satan. Oh, okay. If you want to say Satan in Greek, it's Satan. Okay? Learn something every day, don't we? What's the number one meaning of it? It occurred 36 times in the New Testament. All 36 times it was translated Satan. What's it mean? Adversary, one who opposes another in purpose or act. The prince of evil spirits, okay, the adversary of God and Christ. Doesn't get Satan like a man. Remember, God even told him, looked him in the face in Ezekiel 28, which, by the way, I meant to mention that, didn't I? Ezekiel 28 is where I was drawing that from. The only entity sentenced to death, destruction at this point, to be blotted out of existence, is this one, this adversary. Ezekiel chapter 28 documents that. He looked at him and even said that. You're a man, not God. And here it is again. He's also the accuser, which is what devil means. You see that? Comes from Chaldee. The accuser, the devil, Satan. All the same entity, okay? And Revelation even gives you a few more of his names all tied together. That old serpent. Oh, by the way, Ezekiel 28 tells you too. Oh, you was in the garden. You prince of Tyre. And then a few verses later, the king of Tyre. You was in the garden. Letting you know he's a king. He's a king of Tyre, which is the merchant city, merchandising. King of Babylon. King of the children of pride. Look at that. Prince of evil spirits. Adversary also calls him the prince of the air. Let's drill this home real good. And then there's all the places. Matthew chapter 4. We're going to cover this psalm real soon. Actually, in this Matthew chapter 4, Psalm 91, where God's promising those that love Him. And it says that at the very close of that psalm. If you love God, this is for you. It's not an accident that Satan chose a verse out of that Psalm 91 to tempt Christ with in this Matthew chapter 4. That's where Christ was tempted in the wilderness. Okay, let's back up here. Let's get back to where we was. All right. With all deceivedness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. Okay. They allowed themselves to be deceived by this adversary, and they would receive not the love of the truth so that God could save you. So what? And for this cause, see, I accidentally skipped this verse 10 and went right to 11. For this cause, God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. This thought is, you got to have all three of these verses to fully catch what God was telling us. You got a choice. You're standing in the valley of decision. You can choose truth and be saved, or you can choose lies and be damned. Your choice. God will not make that choice for you. Now, let's talk about signs and lying wonders. We got a bunch of them we can go to. Let's look at perhaps maybe a sign. Look at this one. Forbes posted this year, November 2012. Hubble spots a bizarre glow after an impossible explosion in space. I'll put the links to these articles all in the description of the video, whether you're at YouTube or Brighteon or Rumble or Welcome Home 777, however you consume this podcast. I will put the links there so you can go investigate for yourself. And then there's your puzzled scientist. And I think you're going to find out this blast was 10 times brighter than it was thought possible. Boy, there's a wonder for you. That's a wonder. 10 times brighter than they thought was possible. But it happened, and it happened this year. The same year that the Star of Bethlehem is going to appear, December 21st, this year. The same year that we had a very rare full moon on Halloween. Kind of like to give you a heads up, something big's about to happen. And it's evil. So there's one wonder. And then we talked about this yesterday, these mysterious monoliths appearing all across the world. We're talking California, we're talking Utah. And they appear 10 to 12 feet tall, and they disappear just as quickly. We're talking anything from the Utah desert, see there, Romanian city, in Pine Mountain in California there, and Albuquerque, New Mexico. Isn't that something? Anyway, if you want to model, see, look at them. And they disappear just as quickly as they appear. I would put this in the lying wonder category. We look at it, we wonder, we don't really know where they came from or who put them there. And I'll call it a lying wonder because if I try to explain this to you, I'm probably going to wind up lying to you because I don't know. It's a lying wonder. Okay, what have I got next? Oh, here's one from January 2018, January 23rd, which this is a very interesting time that this happened. When did it say it happened? 19th of January 2018. This 19th through the 23rd of January, I want to remind you of another major benchmark coming up. It will be 120 years, which that has to get your attention. Coming up January 22nd which falls in this little window here that we're talking about. 2021, January 22nd, 2021. Look for something major concerning the throne, or you could call it a seat of power, that has something to do with Israel and or Judah. Those two sticks are separate at this time. Israel and or Judah, on or around, or both, on or around January 22nd, 2021. Here's a benchmark here, January 19th, 2018. What had happened just before that? We had a 4 blood moon cycle on the feast days. Get it where you can see it. We had a 4 blood moon cycle on the feast days. 2014 through 2015. 2 blood moon, of the blood moons on feast days, 2 of them, both Passover and Feast of Tabernacles on 2014, and again Passover and Feast of Tabernacles 2015. Kind of a wake-up call. Hey children, look up. Got some signs for you to see in the heavens. I put them there. Nobody else. This is God. God put them there. The Almighty put them there. Man can't move this. Man cannot control the movements of the stars and the moons. But God can. And he called your attention. You know, that hadn't happened since 1492. Why does that year ring a bell? Well, that set into motion the establishment of where God was going to scatter a bulk of his children to this, what would later be the United States of America. It was calling the people's attention then. The year Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I know Columbus is a bad word now, but it's still our history. And if you haven't watched the video yet, Your Abolished History That You Must Learn, please do. I should put that up at Rumble too. And it's already at Brighteon, and I don't know if I put it at YouTube or not, but it's an important video. If I didn't, I'll put it at YouTube sometime in the near future. So anyway, there's Sources Science Alert. I'll put the link so you can look at that a little closer. That's already happened, but it was an incredibly rare super blue blood moon. So there's you another sign. I wouldn't do this. There's nothing lying about this. This one I'm going to put in the category of this is a sign from your Heavenly Father to get your attention and to get your attention. Things are going down, and to fixate your mind. January, we got another major benchmark coming up this January. I'm not saying exactly what's going to happen. I can only say it will concern the throne of Israel and or Judah, which means the United States, the Israel stick, and or Judah, which is the small nation we now call Israel. Georgia Guidestone's another lying wonder. Now, yes, it is true, and I thought I probably should have drawn this out a little bit better when I said, we had some pretty, population and reproduction control, a world government, but we remember God himself, that was in his purpose and intention, together the nations so that he could pour his fierce wrath out upon them. But he does use workers of iniquity to accomplish some of his purpose. Other parts of his purpose is accomplished through his children. But this is worth looking and reading. Unite humanity with a living new language. Did you know God promised he was going to do that? Not these, but God himself promised that he was going to give us a pure language. At the 7th trump, rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Kind of like Thomas Paine, The Age of Reason. He was an occultist, by the way. He's on the other side. He's on the adversarial side. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. See, they're planning on having one primary deity. And he's coming soon. The king of Babylon is coming. These people's king is coming. Now, do they really mean that? Prize truth, beauty, love? Well, their definition of peace, beauty, and love is different than ours. In fact, King David even said, what they view us, God's children, as the evil, wicked ones, and what they do is good. Let me remind you of some of the things they think is good. Murder of innocent babies. In the name of what? Choice. It fits in with this rule up here. Guide reproduction wisely. Perpetual balance. They try to make this sound as good as they can, but what we're really talking about is a one world governed by Satan, the adversary. That's what this is talking about. And remember, he's the father of lies. His version of truth is different than our version of truth. Our version of truth comes from the source and one and only source of truth, the living word, Yeshua Messiah, Jesus Christ. Their truth is the end justifies the means. Tell the people anything you got to tell them. Tell them Joe Biden won the election. Go ahead. Doesn't matter how much we cheated. The end justifies the means. Got it? That's just one example. I could go on forever and ever. The vaccine's perfectly safe. We skipped all the safety protocols, but don't worry, go get it anyway. No, what could happen? And they leave out the fact that they excluded the vaccine manufacturers from liability. You could take the vaccine, and if it kills you, your family cannot sue them or do anything about it. You have no claim. The same protections they're unwilling to give small businesses. They argue and say, we can't give them that. But they'll give the vaccine manufacturers liability protection. God gave you a brain. He wants you to use it. Think about these things. Is that the God you want to serve? The one, the God of iniquity? What I'm describing to you, brothers and sisters, is iniquity. It is iniquity. When it's okay, this is okay. Oh yeah, we can give the manufacturers liability protection, but you small businesses, you can go to hell. You can't have it. That's iniquity. Be prepared for an outcome here. Oh, I guess they're going to tell us how it'll be. That's the other thing Satan, the adversary, loves to do. He's got his own prophecies. Like the age of Q's coming in, and we'll just, the age of Q promises a lot of these same things these guys are promising. It's just all going to be nice. The flesh age will just continue forever. We'll get rid of all the bad guys, and we'll live in harmony and prize the truth and beauty and love. Have you seen what they've done to art? That's Satan's idea of beautiful. You have to go back 100, 150 years to see beautiful art. Sorry, I'm getting carried away on a tangent. Anyway, it's worth looking in. These things, they are lying wonder. We don't even know who paid for these. We don't know how these come to being. And speaking of lying wonders, I got one more for you. The Denver airport. And I don't even know if they put it. And I will give you a link to this. I made a mistake yesterday. There's that sword, see it? If you look real close, this bear's shaped like a cross. The symbols are all over the place if you look real close. See the cross there? She's kind of laying on a book, or is that a stone? I can't tell for sure. I've seen these in person before. They're horrifying. They're hideous. There's the little Christian girl. It's hard to tell from this picture, but when you're standing at this airport looking at the mural, you can see that this is a Bible. And I said this was a fish yesterday. I don't know where I got that from. That's a turtle. But if you look real careful here, you can see another cross. Upside down, I might add. You see it? You can see it if you look. There's an upside down cross there. They put all kinds of symbology in here. And yes, it has to do with the New World Order. There's something weird. There's a guy with the sword killing the dove, which is symbolic of the Holy Spirit. He's using the sword, stealing God's word, because Christ comes with the sword, remember? Some of the weaponry that he informed his children to use was the sword of the Spirit, and he armed us with it. It's the living word of the living God. I want you to look real careful again. See this bear? See it? That's a cross, and it's in death. Death is claiming victory here at this airport. There's a lot of very mysterious things. Look at that. Oh, Pat, idols don't exist today. They don't. They're everywhere you look. Any delivery person can tell you. It's hard to go. I would say as much as 1 out of 3, or maybe even 1 out of every 2 houses that I deliver to have some kind of heathen idol at their doorstep now in this great land that God gave us. And you wonder why. We're going to go into where this enemy comes from, who it is, and why they're here in very near future episodes. But the short answer is God's really angry at us. And I'm kind of using this episode to show you some of the reasons why. We have heathen symbology of the foreign religions that have nothing to do with God. We have it everywhere in this land. And our Father in heaven is a jealous God, and he's not happy about it. Anyway, and in there's another. Oh, look at that. Does this symbol look familiar? Don't the Freemasons use this? Pretty sure they do. There's all this Denver International Airport, even some of its funding is dubious at best. A dubious conspiracy, isn't that what we learned in the prior podcast or a couple podcasts ago? And we're going to dig deeper into that soon. The dubious conspiracy against the children of God by the workers of iniquity. Brothers and sisters, I'll tell you point blank, I have no doubt in my mind that the workers of iniquity have a lot to do with this Denver International Airport, the Georgia Guidestones, and I want to close with this thought. I'll leave a little bit more for you to read. You can follow the link and read more if you'd like to. It's a lying wonder. I'm not going to try to fully explain the Denver International Airport, because if I do, I will wind up telling you a lie, and I don't want to lie to you. I value the truth, and I think you do too, or you wouldn't be here. So the last thing you need for me is to sit here and spout lies to you. I don't know. It's a lying wonder, this Georgia Guidestones, the Denver International Airport. I could go on. I showed you a few signs. There's more coming, more things to look for, another major benchmark next month. What can I say? I'll close with this thought in mind. And here's another thing. Are all these things coincidences? That 2020 just seems to be a defining moment in history? And it just happens to be exactly 40 years after the Georgia Guidestones were unveiled to the world. The probation 40 in God's Word, in biblical numerics, God's Word, the spiritual significance of 40 is probation. Probation period is drawing to an end. We've entered the year of recompenses, or reward, however you want to look at it. That's one Hebrew word was translated both ways. Usually it was translated recompenses if it meant evil people were getting theirs. And it was translated reward for people who deserve blessings and good things. But it's really the same word. There is a reward for both the just, justified through faith, I remind you, and the unjust, or the workers of iniquity. They get a reward too. And to me, it's bad. I guess it's good to them because they turn everything upside down, just as it was prophesied. They would turn everything upside down. So let me ask you this. Which column do you put these things in? You know, the mysterious explosion in outer space that happened in 2020, the same year that The full moon, the very rare full moon on Halloween, and the exceptionally rare hadn't happened for 800 years. The appearance of the Star of Bethlehem, and a hoax on every corner, a fraud on every corner. What's the chances of all this just being an accident and a coincidence? And let me ask you this. Is it reasonable to believe that all these things are just a coincidence? Or is it more reasonable to say, you know what, God's word is true and he's sending us signs and their lying wonders are present? In fact, if we look around, pretty much everything Christ told us, when you see all these things, know that the end is nigh or at the door. A pragmatic, reasonable person would have to say, gee, he gave us a long list of things and almost everything is checked off. We have a benchmark coming in January. And then we have Passover. And then we enter the season of the locust the following month after Passover. And we know that the season of the locust is 150 days. How long was Noah's Ark floating on the water? 150 days. That's either a coincidence. You can either put it in the coincidence category on the left, or you can put it in the truth category on the right. It's your choice. I love each and every one of you. Until tomorrow, if you want a little heads up where we're going tomorrow, Friday the 11th, which in biblical numerics means disorder. Disorder. We're going to cover some disorder. Where it's coming from, who sent it, and who it's sent upon. We're going to cover Isaiah chapter 47 tomorrow. Love you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.